So thank you to Nancy from the Better Business Bureau. She's going to talk to us today about home improvement contractors. So thank you to Nancy for making this possible and being flexible on Zoom. We're so happy to have you. And so the best view would probably be speaker view at this point. And feel free to use the chat, and I'll be monitoring that today. So if you have any questions or comments during the presentation, I'll be keeping an eye on that, okay? And I will hand it over to you, Nancy.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for inviting us to present. This is a big topic. It's an important topic. So we're pretty much touching the top of the iceberg here, but you're going to find that you have a lot of resources, and we're going to talk about some of those today. And so when you get closer to making those decisions, you can reach out to us or to some of the other resources to get more information. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. All righty. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So a person's home is usually their most expensive investment. So before starting a home improvement project, it's really important to be educated about the process and hire someone you can trust. So today we're going to start with some common scenarios, things to avoid. I call them hiring a contractor don'ts. We'll get those out of the way. So the first scenario would be maybe you get a flyer at your door or in your mailbox. It's a really super offer. The price seems just too good to be true. Well, chances are there are going to be hidden costs and the price isn't the entire price. So check the company out carefully at bbb.org, or you can just give us a call and we'll let you know what we've heard from other consumers that have dealt with that business. Scenario number two, a knock at the door. Maybe a home door-to-door home improvement, someone has come to your door. They might be telling you about an opportunity to have some paving done. They're in the neighborhood, they have extra material, they're going to give you a great deal. Or maybe there's been a hailstorm in the neighborhood and they're doing other roofs in the neighborhood. They'll come up with a nice story for you, but don't do business with someone who just shows up at your door unless you check them out first. Call us at BBB, and this is a toll-free number, 866-566-9222, or you can visit the website, bbb.org, to check out a contractor. And if someone's at your door and they're making you uncomfortable, don't let them in. Call the local police. I mean, this could be a dangerous situation. So keep that in mind as well. Reputable contractors won't hesitate, to say, they'll be happy to have you check them out with the Better Business Bureau. So they're not going to say, this offer is no good if you take your time and think it over. All right. So going forward, we want to get at least 3 bids. So you can search for contractors at bbb.org. We have a request to quote tool so that the contractors actually will come to you. You want to discuss the bid in detail with each one of those contractors. And remember, the lowest price may not be the best contractor for the job. We deal with a lot of complaints for this type of business. And the big 3 reasons for those complaints are unforeseen or unexpected additional costs, unrealized expectations, and communications problems. And I think number 3 is probably the reason for 1 and 2. So you really need to sit down with each one of these contractors, allow it an hour to go over exactly what's expected in this particular project. It'll save you a lot of time later if, from dissatisfaction. So you should question them. You should ask them, you know, what's their full name and address of the company. This seems pretty basic, but you know, sometimes a company doesn't seem to have a you know, physical place of business. So be very cautious about that if they don't have a physical permanent place of business. How can you be confident that they will complete the work? And how can you be confident that they'll still be in business if the work needs additional service in the future? You know, how are you going to contact them to come back if there's a problem? So I would recommend that you might even want to visit the contractor's place of business just to make sure that they have one and get a look at it. So does the company carry insurance, and is that insurance adequate? This is very important. A telltale sign for an uninsured or underinsured contractor is an extremely low bid. So if you get your 3 bids and 2 of them are kind of in the same neck of the woods, but the third one is way lower, I'd be very wary of that. The contractor working without insurance saves a lot of money, but you're the one that's taking all the risk. If something happens on your property and they're not properly insured, you are the one at risk. So it's very important to make sure that your contractor has all the insurance they need. So ask them to provide you with a certificate of insurance to prove that they have workers' compensation and general liability insurance. So this is where you can actually click on your computer to check their workers' compensation insurance. There's a handout that Lindsay can email to you that has this link on it, along with some other links. So we'll make sure you have that at the end of the presentation. So you want to check the limits on the workers' comp insurance as well. They should have coverage of $1 million per accident and employee, and their general liability insurance should be in the vicinity of $2 to $5 million. So don't do business with a contractor that does not carry adequate insurance. So are they licensed? Well, this is important too. So a contractor will have a license and a registration, just like your car. So when you have a car, you need to register it so that it can be on the road. And then you need to have a license so that to prove that you know how to operate it properly. Same thing with contractors. So a contractor should have an active license and be affiliated with the company that you're hiring. And you can verify their construction supervisor license through following this link, and that's included on the handout. And they also should be registered with the Office of Consumer Affairs and Business Regulation. So you can verify their HIC registration through this link, also on the handout. So the Home Improvement Contractor Law was created in 1992 to protect consumers and regulate the business practices of contractors. It established a registration requirement, a complaint and enforcement program, an arbitration program for resolving disputes, and a guarantee fund program to compensate consumers up to $10,000 for unpaid judgments against contractors. So you can go to the Office of Consumer Affairs and check that out online, or you can call them to get more information about that. And their number is 617-973-8787. So this brings me to the fact that the contractor should be pulling all the permits. So if they tell you, well, I'm kind of busy, it would be really helpful if you pulled the permits, that's a big red flag. Don't do it. Because if you pull the permits, they're not covered by this Home Improvement Contractor Guarantee Fund. So you lose out on all of that protection if you pull the permit. So make sure your contractor does it. So how long has this contractor been in business? The more experience, the better. So check with BBB. We have a report on each of these businesses, and it will have their business start date in there. See how long they've been in business. See what kind of a track record they have. If it's a brand new business, use extra care before awarding the project. And don't forget to check references. They're going to give you references. Just because they give them to you, it doesn't mean, you need to call them and you need to double check. I remember not too long ago, a consumer contacted us because someone was going to pave their driveway. And they got photos of driveways that and addresses so they could drive by and look at them. So they did not get contact information for these references. I would look at these and say they're references. So they looked them up themselves. And what they found out was this paving company didn't even install these driveways. They were just basically using them as examples of what a good driveway looks like. And they had nothing to do with them. The consumers were totally befuddled when they got the calls to say, we're checking on this reference for XYZ company. They were not the ones that put in the driveways. So if they tell you to go take a look at this house or go take a look at this garage or whatever, make sure that you contact these people directly and find out if these in fact were the contractors that were responsible for this project. And you can get more information from them as well. So what is the track record for this contractor handling complaints? You can check with BBB to see if they've had complaints and how they were handled. And complaints are a part of doing business. Not everybody is happy all the time. So the fact that a contractor gets complaint is not as worrisome as if they don't respond. So we want to make sure that the contractor does what they can to help resolve the situation. And that's the important part. If a contractor works with BBB to help resolve an issue, that to me is even better. You have proof that they're going to try to make things right, as opposed to a contractor that you're not sure if they've had any complaints. And if they did, what would they do? Things are going to go bad every once in a while. We want to make sure the contractor is going to try to make them right. So let's talk about warranties. So what is the company's workmanship warranty? So like talking about a roof, it's the materials, the manufacturer of the materials that are actually providing the long-term warranty. So it's really important that the product's installed according to the manufacturer specifications, or the warranty from the manufacturer could very well be in jeopardy regardless of the document that they were provided. So it always makes, you should always make sure that you understand all the terms and conditions of a warranty, including the length of coverage on any of the products provided by the contractor. The warranty should be provided in writing and state whether it's a full warranty or limited, and that only certain aspects of the job or product will be covered. And never assume that a product warranty includes a contractor's labor warranty. Make sure you ask about the labor warranty and have that language included on the contract. So the example of a roof, the shingles are warranted by the manufacturer. And there will be a stipulation that they have to be installed according to the manufacturer's specifications. So if something does go wrong and the manufacturer provides new shingles to replace the ones that failed, don't assume that the contractor is going to install them. So you need to make sure that that's covered as well. So get a signed contract, and we give the same recommendation to contractors. You know, the important thing, as I said, about the complaints we receive, there's a lack of communication. There's a lack of understanding on both sides what the homeowner, what their expectations were, and maybe what the contractor thought was included in the job. So make sure it's all in writing. Make sure you have a start date, a anticipated completion date, and all the associated costs in writing. You should also have, if there's special materials, special brand names, all of that should be listed in the contract. And never pay upfront for the entire job. So it's just not a good idea at all. And never rely on verbal agreements. So if it's said verbally, it might as well never have been said, because your recollection of this verbal agreement could be very different from what the contractor recalls. So if there are any verbal agreements, make sure that you get them added in writing to the contract. Payment terms. Never give more than a third down payment unless there's a special order. You know, if you have particularly special products that you're ordering, you might have to give them more money in order to order the materials. Suggested terms: a third down, a third about halfway through, and the balance upon completion. So one of BBB's top complaints is that I paid in full, but the work was not completed. And if you've paid, they might not be as motivated to come back with your punch list, things that need to be fixed. You might get a lot of promises, but they're going to make more money if they start on a new job, you know? So make sure that you don't pay the final payment until the job is completed to your satisfaction. So BBB has 10 helpful hints to help you, go through this process successfully. The first one is to check out their track record. Contact BBB to obtain business reviews on any company you're considering hiring. Check the BBB rating, the complaint history, and more at bbb.org. It's fast, it's easy, and it's free. Solicit multiple quotes. Get at least 3 written bids and take the time to learn why they may be different. Using BBB's request to quote service allows consumers to quickly and easily obtain information from one or more BBB accredited businesses. These businesses have pledged to comply with BBB standards, such as advertising honestly, honoring promises, and responding to customers' complaints. Verify licensing and registration. Check to see if the company you plan to hire is properly registered and licensed for the work that they're doing. Verify insurance information. Be sure to verify the company's worker compensation, property damage, and liability insurance. Be sure all workers are bonded to protect you against theft and damage. Ask for proof of insurance or for the name of an insurance agent you can call to verify the coverage. Check references. Ask for references from their previous 3 jobs and check them out before you sign the contract. Get everything in writing. Before work starts, have a signed written contract including start and completion dates, exact costs, specific work to be done, and warranty information on materials and or labor. Don't rely on verbal promises. Any promises made orally should be written into the contract. Read the fine print carefully and understand all of the terms before signing. Arrange a payment schedule. Never pay in full in advance of a project. Stagger your payments according to agreed upon stages of work completion, and don't make a final payment until all work is finished. Never pay in cash. Use a check or credit card, because those payments can be tracked. If you pay in cash, you have no, there's really no proof that you actually paid. Obtain warranty information. Get that in writing on all products and installation, and read the fine print carefully. consider future services and issues. And keep in mind that if you choose a contractor or company that isn't local, you need to know who to contact in regard to any service needs that may arise after completion of the project. Be sure to get proper permits. Make sure your contractor pulls appropriate permits for the work they're doing. Permits are for your protection. And the number one helpful hint, always look for the seal. Looking for a contractor, plumber, roofer, landscaper, or electrician that you can trust. BBB makes your life easier because you know you can trust BBB accredited businesses. It pays to look for the seal. Okay, am I back?
You're back, but not your picture, so you can say start.
Not my picture. All right. Let's see if I can find that little camera. There I am. Okay. So that was a lot of information. And there is a handout that has the 10 tips and the places that you can verify the insurance and the licensing. So does anyone have any questions?
There's nothing in the chat, but people can feel free to unmute themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was very helpful. Thank you.
All right.
I would love to get the flyer that you're talking about with the resources.
Okay. I'll email that to you because I have your email. So I'll email that to you directly.
Okay, thanks so
All
much.
right. I'd like to know what the other attendees, what they had hoped to get out of this presentation. And if there's additional information that BBB can provide, I'd be happy to make that available. Okay.
There. Or have any further questions? I think everyone's kind of just following along. I don't see too many.
Yeah. Yes, verbal means nothing. If it's not written down, it wasn't said.
So,
Yeah. Okay.
I don't see any questions.
No, I don't see any questions. Well, let me give you a little bit of information about our Better Business Bureau. So we serve central and western Massachusetts and northeastern Connecticut. So all the way from like 495 out to the New York border. And there's a little part of northeastern Connecticut that we cover as well. So we have a toll-free number. That's 866-566-9222 if that's a concern to anybody. And our website, just go to bbb.org. So very simple. And it's really important that you use the resources of the Better Business Bureau to do your homework before you make a big buying decision. You know, we get complaints every day, and sometimes people will file a complaint. It's the first time they've seen the business profile that we hold on the business they did business with. They might have a big fat F. Now they say, if they had seen that F before they decided to hire them, they would have avoided a lot of problems. So it's good to do your research before, and we'll be happy to help you do that. If you're unable to find the business in our database, call us, and we'll be happy to help you and get that information for you. We really want to, we think that an educated and informed consumer is much better armed to make wise decisions in this area. So we'll be happy. We have a lot of resources here. If unfortunately you have bad experience with a business and they're not willing to resolve the issue, you can also file a complaint or a customer review with the Better Business Bureau. to let other, to try to resolve the issue. It'll also let other consumers know about your experience. All right. Well, thank you all for attending today. And, I look forward to other topics. Lindsay, if anyone has any additional topics, we'll be glad to present on those as well. We've been doing a lot on scams and fraud that are related to the coronavirus recently. And we'd be happy to put one of those on as well. Our pleasure.
Good idea. Thank you. And if anyone thinks of questions for Nancy, you can always email me, lgill@longmeadow.org. I can connect you, and I'll share the handout as well. So thank you so much, Nancy, for your time. And thank you for being here.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.